Before we move on to the next segment, I want to open it to the other participants in the roundtable today. Particularly, if you want to share your views on what are the new risks that you're seeing, and also maybe any best practices in terms of how you may be addressing these issues at your firms. Any volunteers?
Sure. I thought those were a lot of interesting points raised there. I actually thought it was interesting in our firm as we begin to talk about opening, at least a soft opening, issues like the kind of informal contacts and all the benefits of being in an office. They actually seem to be being curtailed or kind of dampened by the new environment. So even in our kind of new office opening plan, I would not be allowed to have any other person in the company in my office. So nobody could be in my office. They're going to suggest channels of traffic in the hallway, so people are only walking one way around the office, right? Some of these things may relax over time, but it's very interesting to think that some of the definite losses of being in an office, right? The downside, the kind of soft contacts, are not really coming back strong. At least in the initial kind of plans for opening an office. So I don't know if it's really a question or more of a kind of a general add-on point. It looks like this is going to kind of be with us for a while.
Thanks, Stephen.
And then I would actually maybe ask a question separately, which is which is interesting to me, but I guess good in terms of the firm, been adding to headcount kind of going into the crisis and along the way, and it's an interesting, from a compliance culture perspective, it's a very interesting challenge to bring in new people into the firm in a time when they'll essentially never meet their coworkers, right? In the short term, anyway. So I don't know if there are any thoughts about kind of or thoughts or recommendations about how best to kind of onboard new people into the compliance culture.
Yeah, this is Larry Gordon, and I provide consulting services to a number of organizations and grew up in the financial services space. And through my contacts, you saw an initial uptick in productivity, less water cooler talk, people are getting their work done. Of the people that are working from home, they don't have that interaction, they're feeling more isolated. There's an inflection point that they've probably passed or are fast approaching in terms of getting work done. And they just need that water cooler or the flyby, as Deb put it, coaching, going, hey, how's everything going? How's your onboarding? Kind of topical questions for the walk by. That's a big issue when you have to schedule a Zoom call or try an IM going, hey, can I ask you a 3-minute question, which turns into 5 or 10 minutes and interrupts your day and your flow. People are feeling like they can't really do that as flexibly. To Larry's point on his introvert that loves this, I've actually had people that identify themselves as introverts that said, I've had enough of being an introvert. I need people. I need to be able to walk around. And I guess that's the level of self-awareness as we feel so isolated. We're working in 4-wall space because you can't take all your monitors and walk outside and kind of work from there or wherever you are. The level of comfort to getting the work done and has changed. And I think we're hitting some inflection points of people really kind of rebelling or needing to get back into the office.
Yeah, that's an interesting dilemma. And I think, it's important for new employees to always have the opportunity within the first couple of weeks to sit down and talk with us. Definitely make sure that managers know that you want to sit down and have a conversation with their people. And I think that's where we can help reinforce that. But it is a challenge. And, especially in a very large firm. I mean, our firm has over 30,000 employees worldwide. It's just not practical, right? So, I think it's also, something that we're going to have to send out constant reminders and, just get people to kind of rethink. We had somebody on board recently, and as a result of, folks not being together, there was a certain element of training that didn't occur. And, there was a situation that we had to address. So, it's not, of course, by any malice, or any kind of intent to avoid responsibility. I just think that, there's only so many hours in a day, and it is going to be challenging for us to have the volume of conversations that we might have in the course of a day where you're walking around the office. Larry and I were talking yesterday, or Monday, as we were preparing for today, about, you spend a lot of time just walking the floor and just having conversations with people, and how are things going, and when they see you, things come up. I joke a little bit like Catholics going to confession, and so do you have a minute? And so now you have that opportunity to reinforce things with new employees, who are not used to the company and it really is going to take much more effort.
Stephen, one thing I noticed, the week my successor started was her first week in the office and her last week in the office.
Oh, wow.
She had, our new general counsel, CCO, came on board the first week of March, and the second week of March, our office was closed. And since then, we've hired 2 people, and it's really hard. It's hard. You miss the, let's go grab a cup of coffee. Hey, tell me a little bit about yourself, and that's not suited well for a Zoom session. It's too contrived. It's not casual enough, and when you look at kind of the, some of the people that have been in the workforce for a decade or more are kind of settled in their ways. Some are extroverts, some are introverts. Some people love this, some people don't like it. But the newer generation that are more communal, are more collaborative, like to work together, like to be in the office, typically live closer to the office, so they have less commute, and so it's not a burden. And those people are being cheated out, and they're also missing out on mentorship opportunities, and which, from their perspective is, how is this enhancing my likelihood of growing and becoming a future leader of this organization when I can't influence people unless I'm invited for a call or organize my own call, and I think we're in a, this is nascent days, but it's, the hope is that these soft openings will evolve and become, I don't want to get political, and I don't want to get into my theory of pandemics and all this, but hopefully some of this stuff will come back, and we'll be able to live with it, and we'll realize, that was an opportunity to kind of trim off some of the excess and the waste, and we're even better now and more efficient now, and we're able to build relationships again. I guess in short, my theory is, and this isn't based on behavioral science or anything, is that don't force it. Just kind of, as leaders, assuming we all are in the leadership capacity, is just each person's different. So there's, be accommodative to their needs. I have one guy on my team that is such an introvert that he loves this, and I'm not bothering him at all. There's no need for he and I to have a Zoom session every day. There's a young girl on my team that is a wayward soul and is feeling lost right now, and I was on with her every day. So there's things that I think that we could do to just kind of get through the unknown part of it until things start feeling more comfortable and known, and allow us to start helping us navigate through it again.
Thank you. Thanks, Larry.